Uno sabrosito, guap, fins up today. Fins up today. Oh, fins up, baby. Miami, stand up. This is Fins Talk today. Let's go. Sun up over there. Game day on the brain. From the tailgate smoke to the hard count rain. Orange aqua on my back. Crowd shaking every seat. We talking ball, talking heat. Turn it up, feel that big Fins Talk today. Fins Talk today. Fins up all day from the 305. We ride that way. Bobby Fins Talk. Fins Sammy on the way. Miami, vamos. It's Fins Talk today. Hey, hey, hey. It's Fins Talk today. Who you reppin'? Who you riding? Miami. Who you riding? Dolphins. We break it down, break it live. Every snap, every drive. Hey, Fins Talk today. Fins up all day from the 305. We ride that way. Fins Talk. Fins Sammy on the way. Miami. Vamos, vamos. It's Fins Talk today. Hey, hey, hey. Fins Talk today.
All right, can't help but get fired up with the Fins Talk today intro. Hi, I'm Bobby Fins Talk here on FTSN, partnered always with my tag team partner, Finn, Sammy of Fins TV, here for the flagship show, Fins Talk today, powered by Fins TV and FTSN. Sammy, my man, how are you, brother?
Baba, baby, how you doing? You know, it's good to be back. It's a Thursday. That feel like a Tuesday. But it's Tuesday or Thursday, you know, it's Fins Talk today. FTSN is Fins TV, baby, so let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, oh, man, it's like you say, you know, every time you think, oh, what else are they going to do? You know, or what else are they, you know, there's nothing going to be they're going to talk about. And then there it is. Here's another thing. Let's throw some more dice in there.
Yes,
And so we got some stuff to talk about with the Miami Dolphins. Of course, hey, we have some clarity now. A quarterback that could have been possibly a first, second, who knows, third round type quarterback in the draft. All of a sudden becomes available, possibly in a supplemental draft. We're going to talk about that. Should Miami be interested? There's rumors that they are. Should they be interested or should they not? We're going to talk about that. And Miami continues, the Dolphins, this front office continues to add players to the roster and continue to get that Texas pipeline coming through, kind of like what they did in the draft. Keep going back to Texas. This time, they're going to the UFL, the United States Football League, and they got two players from the Houston Gamblers. So we're going to chat about that. And then Jalen Wright with some interesting comments about what to possibly expect from him this upcoming season. Again, I want to appreciate everybody for joining us, wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, on FTSN, on X, Fins TV, FTSN, my Twitter, or of course Twitch on FTSN. DSG in the comments. One more for the Knicks. Sure. You know, really cool to see everybody so happy. I'm happy I can't stand the Knicks, but I'm happy for Mike Brown. Congratulations for Mike Brown. Don't like the Knicks, but congratulations to Cat. You know, and of course Jalen Brunson. You know, that's really cool to see. But other than that, so that's all it is. Anyway, let us get into it. Of course, we are sponsored by Caneswear. If you are a Dolphins fan, you love Dolphins gear, Miami Hurricanes, Miami Heat, Marlins, the Florida Panthers, anything South Florida, go check out Caneswear.com or of course, if you're now Caneswear.com if you're anywhere other than the state of Florida. But if you are in the state of Florida, especially South Florida, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, go check them out. Brett and the crew, awesome people, awesome gear. And of course, check out Caneswear TV. Yes, it's too sweet. Too sweet. You know what I'm saying? You got to go with the old, supposedly, baby elephant, Zach Thomas. I never heard of that before.
Never heard that. That guy must be
came
trolling.
from.
That has to be a troll because a good start because there's absolutely no freaking way.
I've never heard of baby elephant Zach Thomas.
That has to be a sexual pun because there's no way he was baby elephant. Come on. That's what has to be a sexual pun.
I was like, where is that coming from? Where is that coming from, man? But let me pull this up here. I saw that and I'm like, What in what world? I've never
Is his
heard.
porn
I've heard
name?
plenty of
Is that his
nicknames.
porn name or something? Stop
Yeah,
it.
it's
I've
like,
never heard that in my
what are you
life.
talking about? Let me make sure I have the right. You see here.
Well, at least I thought it was funny, but I didn't think it was true. That's all I'm gonna say about that because that doesn't make any freaking sense. Baby elephant, come on, stop it.
Baby elephant. I never heard it. I never heard it. The
Next thing, come on. Next they're gonna say Jason Taylor's nickname was a tripod or something. Come on, you need to stop that. You need to just stop it. Doesn't make any sense.
Let's see if DSG's ever heard it there. There you go. Look at David. David says his prayers will be answered if the Dolphins were to get Sorsby. He's such a prick.
Well,
you know.
Let's
go ahead and pull that up there. Yes, there it is. Brendan Sorsby. From Texas Tech, formerly of Cincinnati. Was trying to continue his college career, was fighting the NCAA to continue his career in college football, but lost the case, and now he has applied for the supplemental draft to enter the league now. So there's a lot of debate around the league. First off, if you're a team like Miami, should you entertain spending a 2027 draft pick on Brendan Sorsby? There's pros and cons to that. First off, the pros, right? This is a very talented quarterback. No doubt about it. If you pull, first off, great size, 6'3", 235, played at Texas Tech, played at Cincinnati year before. Last season, I believe was his best year. If I see here, let me pull up that statistic here, if I could pull that up. Either way, dual threat guy. Again, love his frame, 6'3", 235. Dual threat speed, 580 yards, 9 touchdowns in 2025, last football season. He's a playmaker. He's a competitor, right? I mean, there's some things that aren't great. His accuracy is a little uneven, a little choppy on the footwork. It's not a perfect situation, right? But it's a body, and it's a guy who potentially could have been a first, maybe a second, third round quarterback who you could get right now, possibly for a 5th round pick, next year's 5th round pick. Now, here's the cons to that situation. Will he even play? Will he even be available to you? Why is he not going to be able to play for college football next year and possibly not even the NFL for at least a season? Maybe. He is accused of gambling against his team. So there's some pros and cons to that. But if you go ahead and you take him, you bring him in, you get another guy who you could potentially groom, build up, and maybe, just maybe, after that one season, he steps in. If you notice, hey, Quinn Ewers is not the guy. Hey, Malik Willis is not the guy. Well, wait, guess what? We got Brendan Sorsby. Let's go ahead and give him a shot. Holy crap, he's the guy. Sammy, we'll get more into Brendan Sorsby, but in this conversation. But I just want to know your initial thoughts when you see Sorsby loses his injunction, his case against, and basically stops the case with NCAA. Says, I'm going into the NFL. I'm going into the supplemental draft. You obviously see ex-Dolphins Twitter blow up like, oh, we could go get this guy. David is bringing it up now, talking about why Miami should consider him. What were your initial thoughts with Brendan Sorsby?
I'll tell you what. Dolphins Nation, Fins Nation wants everybody, every single time. There's a free agent, the Dolphin. That meme that says always Dolphin. I always say about that. But for Sorsby, somehow I think for me, it's been less than I expected. To be honest, I thought it will be more of an uproar, and probably the Fins Nation will be sleeping right now with the part of the season. But I would have expected more. To be honest, I would have expected more people to be behind it. It's just a mess. The NCAA part is just a mess. The judge in Texas and whatever. And that whole chapter in Cincinnati has to be determined. Who knows what else comes about what happened there? So there are too many question marks on Sorsby right now. He's not a perfect quarterback by any means. He's not like he was projected to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. The measurables are there. He's been compared to Dak Prescott. So for me, the Cowboys will make a lot of sense. The someone like the Packers would make a lot of sense because they're established. They can take a gamble like that. The Dolphins by not picking him benefit either way because quarterback hungry teams that goes for him, and Arizona, that might be looking for a quarterback, maybe the Jets, spend capital that is going to prevent them to maybe move up in next year's draft if the Dolphins are higher or not. So I don't think that the way the Dolphins have been acting right now, they've been very composed, they've been very measured what they do. I think they've done a great job. I don't think that they have the structure to take this kind of gamble yet. If you tell me this year 3 of Hafley and Sullivan, and this is the gamble they can take, probably. But right now, I don't think that they're gonna take this kind of gamble. I might be wrong, and the Dolphins put the trigger, and he's a second round pick for the Dolphins. But I don't see Hafley and Sullivan so far with the things they have done, the way they're building this team with character, with guys who play hard, with no question marks, solid players all over. I don't think they take the kind of gamble. I'm not saying that he doesn't have the talent. That remains to be seen. We have to wait and see. Nobody knows because, he, like you say, he has some questions. But I don't think Dolphins with Sullivan and Hafley, year 1, after all they've done right now, after Quinn Ewers playing good in camps, in OTAs, and the way Malik Willis have been performing, I don't think they take this gamble.
Appreciate the take for David, of course, absolutely, because we are not set at quarterback. Because DSG is asking, do we need another quarterback? Ferguson says yes. We're not set there. And he says he could have been a first round quarterback all day, but rated higher than Arch Manning, and he won his injection, by the way. Appreciate you, David, for the heads up there. Russ Morgan in the house. Russ Morgan will be the host of the On Deck Baseball podcast, of course, host of College Blitz as well. He says, "What's up, fellas?" Apparently, since he was aware of the gambling situation, looked the other way and didn't say anything. There you go. Will of 305 Sports Out says, "No, and hell no." There you go.
Hell nah.
Hell nah. Hog Dog Sorsby told me personally he has changed. We bet 100 on it.
That was funny.
Raphael, great to see you, my man. Appreciate everybody dropping in here. Look, here's what I'm going to say, right? Are we set at quarterback? Is that a fair question? Yes, it is a fair question. Is it a fair statement? Yes, it is a fair statement. Why would he say that? Malik Willis hasn't played it down yet. Quinn Ewers not in his second year yet. That's the point. We don't know what we have in those guys.
Yeah.
We signed Malik Willis. We had Quinn Ewers already on the roster. Other than DSG, I'll give him that. But there are a lot of Dolphin fans that were saying we still need to look at a quarterback. 5th round, 6th round, Drew Allar and all these other guys. Late round, Talon Green, all these guys. 5th, 6th round. This could be that guy. Brendan Sorsby, you don't know what you have in these other two guys. There's reports that Malik Willis is not having a solid camp right now, which is fair. That happens, right? I mean, it is what it is. I'm not too concerned with it. It's too early, but this is not a guy who's I don't see right now as somebody who's going to compete for the starting spot because he may not play. The NFL might decide, hey, we're going to suspend him. But if you spend a 5th round pick, if you just say, let me throw a 5th round pick, let's go ahead and just, because that's basically what it is. Teams throw a pick and they did that, whoever gives the higher pick gets the player. I think that's how it works with the supplemental draft. So for me, is he worth Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It is the way it was explained to me was that it is the higher pick, but they're divided into groups of 3, right? The playoffs teams are one tier. The teams that had less than 6 wins and did not make the playoffs are one tier, and teams that did not play the playoffs and had more than 6 wins in another tier. So basically, they do a drawing from this tier. So they're gonna have a random drawing like a lottery from the tier 1, tier 2, to 3. That makes the order. So it doesn't have to do anything with last year. So you can be in the first year, and basically the Dolphins can be. I think the Dolphins will be actually in the. How many wins had the Dolphins last year? 7, 6, 6 wins.
I think they'd be in the second tier.
They'll be in the second tier.
Yeah.
They could be the first pick of the second tier, but it's not guaranteed that not the last. So basically, everything can happen. So teams with a second round pick, or a team like the Eagles, for example, those teams picks with a higher pick. If you are planning to draft him and you want to pick a 3rd round pick, you might have to do a 2nd round pick instead of the 3rd because there's no way you're gonna have to go all the way over because of the draft pick. So it's interesting. I think it's a fair. They might have to consider that for the real draft because with teams tanking so much, I would not be opposed to basically doing that for the real.
The NBA just did that. The NBA now has said it where you can't tank. And talk about NBA. I just want to throw this out here for FTSN. Next Tuesday is the NBA draft. Russ Morgan's in the comments. Russ, Mike Brown, Alex, and Alfred Matthews, and some other people as well will be live for rounds 1 and 2, Tuesday and Wednesday of the NBA draft. We'll talk about that later in the show, but I just want to say it now that I've heard that part there because the NBA actually did that to kind of punish teams for taking. But what I'm going to say is this. What I'm going to say
wish they would have purged this purse because they tank so hard for Wemby that right now they need to do that. They need to start that and flopping and players missing games in the NBA. If they don't fix that, they're screwed. But please go ahead.
For sure. No, it's like what's the point? But I want to say though, for me, I know the Pacers are the ultimate poster child for that. The Pacers, that's a laughing stock. What happened with them? However, back to the Dolphins and Sorsby. Like again, I've seen the notion. Oh, Miami could just a team would give up a 5th round pick. Could a team give a 5th round pick? Yes, if it's a 5th round pick, absolutely you do it.
He's gonna get drafted for sure. Yes,
he's David says he's a 1st round pick. There's a second. I think potentially a 2nd, 3rd round pick last season if he would have came out this past season. Maybe a 1st round pick next year if he would have stayed in college, possibly. But if he's available in 5th round, what's it going to do to you? Nothing. It's basically what they do. They talked about it. John Eric Sullivan said, competition. We're going to, we could add a quarterback this year, next year, and the year after. That's still following this formula. And when you have a talent, possibly like Sorsby, available to you, you have to consider it. You don't know what you have at quarterback, but it's not going to kill you or kill your chances at figuring out that problem by adding someone like Brendan Sorsby, especially someone as talented as such. Now, to follow up that point, again, with the con of it all, is the gambling issues. As a team, the noise that's going to come out of it. The noise that's going to come out of it is if he comes in and he plays great, and then a couple games later, an important game, he sucks. Did he gamble that game? Did he throw that pick on purpose? That's the problem. That's the con of it. You got to give it, again, a 5th round pick is a 5th round pick. But do you trust him not to do that? You got to go back and watch his film. You got to go back and watch his bad games because as a quarterback, he has a good arm. He's a dual threat. The guy can run, he can throw, he can do it all. I mean, he's very talented, but his character comes into question when you look at the whole picture. Because if he has a bad game, if he has a game like Tua Tagovailoa at his worst,
or one of those Tua picks, what was that?
I'm saying, and you're like, how do you throw that? How does he throw right at it's not like where it's like, man, you look at Tua and you're like, oh, dude, he's just bad, stupid decision. You might look at Sorsby and go,
that tweet's coming. That post is coming from everywhere. Viral the first time.
Hog Dog brings up a great point. With this team that's been trying to change the culture, this might not be a good decision.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. So, imagine Fitzstanza after a 2 pick. Imagine Fitzstanza after a Sorsby pick. He'll be the one post game. He'll say, I told you. It's going to be podcast gold for sure.
He will be having fun for that one for sure, yes.
But that's something you have to think about as a team. Like, yes, there's talent. Yes, it's a 5th round pick, so you should consider it. But you also have to consider where his mind's at. What are you getting? A guy who's committed to football, or are you getting a damn it, I'm losing his mind. Who's the player? Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets, right? Miami Heat. Are you getting that guy? Are you getting a guy where that question's always going to come up? David says, I watched all his games last 2 years. He reminded me of Pat Mahomes so much. He never threw a game. I could attest to that. David is, again, pro Sorsby. So, but I get that, and I appreciate that he says that. But for people who don't, right? And that's where I guess David will have to give a little bit of leeway for people who don't watch him all the time, but they know of this story because this story is bigger than what people have seen in his college career. That's what everybody's talking about. When he does have that bad game or he does have that bad throw, you know that's coming, and you have to be prepared for that.
And the problem is that, going with what David said, there are two different things. One is that, in the world we live in right now, everything is it goes viral. The first time that, that, like you said, that pick that is kind of weird, just because people are trolls, just because people have to comment, just because people have to be negative, they're going to say it. They're going to say it. They're going to post it every single time. And what's going to happen next? Some of the media are going to go after it. That's going to be the headline. They really, there are questions. And, it's gonna haunt him for the rest of his career. Right now, I'm really curious why the NFL has not expressed himself. At least I have not seen Roy Goodell basically speak anything about that. If I missed it, please share on the chat, because Goodell is very, very active, in those kind of things. The president of, people who do that in the NFL, I think they're banned for life. So I will be very curious of what the NFL has to say about what's left, because like I said, we don't know how many other things might come out later. You remember Deshaun Watson when the thing happened, and it never stopped. Every single week, another one. So as soon as the thing is, he's magnifying the NFL, more stuff might come in. More stuff might, come to the light of things that happen in Cincinnati, and maybe more things in Texas, and you're in a mess that you can't control. And, the Dolphins have been in so many messes the last 20 years. We didn't start a fire like that song, but things kept happening to the Dolphins every single time, from incognito. So the offensive line coach doing so many things. Can you really take the gamble of having a good player, and think something comes of this day in Cincinnati, and now he's one of the quarterbacks of your team? The Dolphins right now that are rebuilding, trying to change the image, trying to set the culture. Take a gamble like that. For me, I think he might be the greatest player, but I don't think right now, the way they're building this team, they're gonna take that kind of gamble. I just don't think they will. I just don't. I'm not disputing the kind of player he is and how much he can be good for the Dolphins, but you have to take under consideration that the way they're building this team right now, and with the Dolphins fast, I don't think it's worth the gamble, if you ask me.
Absolutely get it. But again, like I said, I wanted to talk about both sides of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Miami was to come around and turn around and say, we're going to give a 5th round pick, and they do it, and let's say they land him, again, I'm excited about the potential of what he could bring to this football team, if given an opportunity. And I'm not saying, this guy's going to be an automatic starter for Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis is going to do just fine in this offense. I think he's going to do just fine with this team as the starting quarterback. Again, Quinn Ewers has been turning heads at camp as well. So we don't know what they're going to do. You could look really good at camp and be shit during the season. We know that. Dolphin fans have experienced enough. We say, right now, Tua's having a great, and I'm not trying to bang down his name, but the people, he's having a great camp in Atlanta. Yeah, we've seen that before. We've seen nice videos on Twitter of the throws, nice spirals, and then during the game, they're ducks.
Yes.
So we've seen that before. However, I think I do have high expectations in regards of what I think we could see out of these two quarterbacks going into next year. But Sorsby being available, that creates an opportunity that you can't ignore. But you have to consider whether it's fair or not, the acquisition.
And basically, usually the expectations of players that come out to the supplemental draft are expected to go higher. Usually, someone's expected to get a 1st round pick and they end up being a 4th or a 5th round pick. Players that are expected to be drafted in the draft, and they are not. They become unrestricted free agents. Terrell Pryor, I think it was in 2011 that people saw that he might be even 1st round pick. I think it was the 3rd round pick for the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. So expectations for players are usually to go higher than they usually go. So don't be shocked if any team, the Packers, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, get him for a 4th round pick. And, everybody was going to go, well, wow, he was supposed to be a 1st round pick. And, that's a steal. That's the way it usually happens, because it's a supplemental draft. Usually players are drafted lower than they're supposed to go.
Absolutely. So there you go. DSG, you're right. I'm with you. And again, that's why I'm like, I don't want to turn back the clock where it's a little too soon for comfort. But I just want to bring that point up because I know a lot of people, they're concerned about Malik Willis, but guys could be great in camp and be trash during the season. Guys could be trash during camp and be great during the season. We'll see. Hogdog said, let Sorsby ball out for someone else, get him on a second contract. Here you go. He'll be a free agent for Miami. It's bad enough Sammy still has that damn jersey in that background. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
he's not a Tua jersey. He's a number one Dolphins number one. How much does he
right.
It doesn't say Tua on the back.
There you go. See, Sorsby has a quick release. Watch his tape. Reminds me of a bigger Baker Mayfield. I mean, again, he has the talent. There's no doubt. There's no denying that he has what you want out of a type of, and again, he has the size, right? 6'3". I mean, 230, I think, but can run, can throw, accuracy's not, is spotty, but still, and again, another Texas pipeline. That's another pro, right? I mean,
that should be the thing that should be the thing that get a lot of his fans curious because so many players.
Sus, DSG. Sus is like, that's DSG, that's sus. Show me the back, Sammy.
There you go. And there you go. Oh man!
You should just have some tape, right, blocking the name, just a piece of tape.
I just I wanted to tease it so much because I want I had to, he got me, so I had to. Come on.
I'm just so glad we extended. Burn it. I'm just so glad we extended Devon H. in. I got his auto there. I'm feeling pretty good. We kept it, and so I'm happy about that. But sure, Hog Dog's right. Hog Dog's right.
And good. Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think any one of us as Dolphin fans would hate to have a player with the talent like Sorsby or even Malik Willis, whatever, at quarterback. So we'll see how it plays out. I love that we've got both sides of the coin there. I appreciate David's point of view as well, and of course, Hog Dog, who's like, no, I'd rather not take the risk. And of course, David's like, no, you take that risk because he is talented. This guy could be a big high upside type of ceiling guy. So love it. I love it. Let's talk about some guys that are Miami Dolphins now. And we're going to start off with, make sure I got the right one here. You got Major Burns. I love that name. That is a player's name, man. Major Burns.
That's a great name.
It is.
Tell you, that's a great football name. That's awesome.
Like that alone, I'm like, I have high hopes for this guy. That's it.
That's a superstar name, man. That's
like Cameron Wake. Like Cameron Wake. It's like, that's a badass name. Storm Duck. Okay. Major Burns. Now, hopefully he doesn't get majorly burned in the NFL facing NFL receivers. We hope not.
That's a defensive
He got major burned.
That's a great name when you play good. When you're getting burned every single time,
you don't want that name. You don't want that name. Major burn. But Raphael, great point. And I said that earlier before you popped in was Miami. There was a lot of talk even before the draft when we signed Malik and we had Quinn Ewers about taking quarterback. Miami didn't. That Sorsby could be that guy for Miami this season if they wanted to go in and do it. So good point. Now, let me talk about Major Burns for a second. I don't know if he has any relation to Artie Burns. Point of order. Good question by Raphael. But this guy, let's just talk about size. You guys all know, joke, haha for Dishy. I love size, right? But this guy, 6'2", 207. That's good size for a safety. He played for Georgia for a season, then went to LSU. He transferred, played his whole career, the rest of his career with LSU, did well, was undrafted though in 2025, was signed by the Bears, got cut, was there for a season, I believe, practice squad, and then went to the Houston Gamblers in the UFL, where he had a very good season. He was all UFL team, and he led the league in interceptions. Let me see here. I don't know if they have it. Let me see. Either way, I'll just say my point of view here. I like that Miami's continuing to add to this team, especially kind of below the numbers type of guys that you don't dollar store bargains. Let's get this guy. Wow, he had a good career, a good season at UFL. Let's go get him. Let's see how he can do I like this opportunity for a player, especially Miami secondary, that's lacking. We've all talked about that possibly being the weakest unit. So signing someone like Major Burns to the roster, who has good size, who had a very good year last year in the UFL for Houston. I'm happy that he's here with the Dolphins, and excited to see what he could possibly do, at least during the preseason. Sammy, what are your thoughts on Major Burns?
The fact that the truth is that the like I call it the spring league, the level has gone up. That's a good thing. He's playing to, it's not like the days of the XFL, that kind of, when the level goes up, there's a better chance that you're getting actually a better player. So the fact that the Dolphins are not leaving no stone unturned, those acorns, like Jeff Ireland used to call them, you have to do that. You have to find a way. The players that basically are exceeding, they have a hunger to play. That's always good. The players that are fighting, they're fighting to make a mark on a team. They're fighting to win the Dolphins. So, at the very least, you're getting someone who's coming here to compete. You're coming someone who has a hunger to play that only ups the level of competition on minicamp and training camp. So I liked it. I love it. I think it's great. The fact that they're leaving no stone unturned is great. We have to bring it to his thing. And first, like with that kind of name, it will be only a plus. That would be awesome if you consider the Dolphins and make this team. But he's gonna face a lot of competition on an area of the team that basically is wide open. It's just wide open because we just don't know. So many defensive backs, so many corners, so many defensive backs trying to make a mark. It's so unsettled that who knows? He has a good chance to make the team, but he has to face a lot of competition because there are a lot of bodies in that part of the Dolphins.
No, that's great points. And big Raphael bringing up Izukama just signed with the Philadelphia Eagles after a year with the UFL. But again, awesome name, only except if he gets burned. If he, the first time we see a big touchdown over the top or on him, we're gonna go, he just got majorly burned, and it's like, there it is, it's done, right? So let's hope that we're just saying Major Burns, he just burned you, instead of, oh, you got burned. So, but I'm excited to see what this young man does, as well as his teammate, another player signing with the Miami Dolphins out of the Houston Gamblers UFL. Is Gottlieb Ayodze, the offensive tackle. So Miami adds and cut Deion Smith. Thank you. I'm doing all right. But
good.
They cut Deion Smith after 99 years on the Miami Dolphins. They cut him and they bring in Gottlieb Ayodze, whatever. See there, I butchered it. But either way, close. I was there. I should have just stopped while I was ahead. But either way, bring him in. This guy, 6'4", 309, played for Maryland in 23, went undrafted in 24, was on the Eagles, Raiders, and DC Defenders practice squad, but played for the Houston Gamblers last season, and was also on the all UFL team, and was the three-time first team all MEC team for in college. So let me pull this up here. He was traded to the Houston Gamblers from the DC Defenders for Braylon Sanders. So, and signs with Miami. So this situation here, like we talked about the acorns, you think, you want to go back reference Jeff Ireland. But I always love that saying, getting the acorns, right? That was Chad Pennington cut from the Jets, picking him up, right? So I love that. I do like that saying.
That's the best ever.
It was the best acorn.
That and Kevin Wake, the best.
That's what I say. So, but as much as we detest Ireland in Miami, that saying stands the test of time. I always reference that saying. And so this is kind of falls in that category. This could possibly be in that situation. With Miami's situation at offensive line, especially at tackle with right tackle, could this come into play? All I know is that I'm going to be very intrigued to watch these guys, what they do in during the preseason, during training camp. Gottlieb, I think I feel better with Major Burns than I do Gottlieb, but we'll see how Gottlieb plays. He was all UFL last year. I just do like that Miami continues to add bodies to camp to, see what they got. Could turn out, right? Chris Berman would have a field day with these names for sure. I don't know if there's in a regular Dolphins year last year. No, they don't have a chance. This year they do. This is not your typical Dolphins team. Everybody has an opportunity to make this roster. I truly believe that. At least with this season. So we'll see. Yeah, Major Burns with an NNT with a pick six. Yeah, that would be good, right? So we'll go ahead and play that out. me make sure. I want to pull this up before I forget. Again, you guys are watching Fins Talk today here on FTSN, powered by FTSN and Fins TV. Let's see here. Pull this up here. Is that where it is? All right, leave it as is. But anyway, we'll find out exactly how those guys do. I just continue to love what Miami has done. All the other point of order, I just brought up Jeff Ireland, and I totally forgot about this. But, you know, he popped up on my, or at least his name popped up on X recently because, you know, Jonathan Martin popped up out of nowhere, you know, coming at Richie Incognito saying he wants to set up a UFC fight. I was like, my goodness, dude. What happened, dude? What are we doing?
Bobby, the one thing that, you know, when Gobley might not be the huge sign for the Dolphins right now, but there's a comforting part of the story. The fact that the Dolphins moved on from Keon Smith and they replaced him with basically Goodlip tells you that, you know, the fact that, you know, players that, you know, were projects from the Chris Greer or maybe Mike McDaniel, you know, you having a clean slate. You having a clean slate to succeed, or you having a clean slate to get the hell out of here, because, you know, there were so many pet projects that, you know, the Dolphins kept every single year that they did not develop, but they made a team, or they find a way to keep being the team every single year. So the fact that, you know, the Dolphins moved from Keon Smith and basically bring a player, an unproven player from the UFL tells you a lot. They're moving on. They're not getting stuck. They're always thinking to moving ahead. If you got enough time here, you didn't develop, you're out. So I think that's a bigger story, basically, the fact that they moved up from Keon Smith to make plays for an unproven player, but you're gonna give an opportunity to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does stand out. So and again, we know this is all John Eric Sullivan. This is all his decision making. You know, he's watching these guys. He's saying, yeah, let's bring them in. He believes these guys can make some sort of impact if they come onto this roster. So again, that's why I am intrigued to see potentially what they could do during the preseason and through camp to see if their names pop up or they become noticeable when we're watching the game. Talk about a guy that had higher expectations coming out of college, but, you know, has not really shown much. And is that more him? Is that more the regime? Is Jalen Wright coming out of Tennessee? You know, this was a guy that I had high expectations for. I think he has all the talent. And Sammy, we discussed him at length, potentially being a guy who could have a target on his back, who might not be here very long. I will tell you, though, in spite of struggling since being drafted to get, you know, to find his role on the team, and then when he is given the opportunity, you know, small flashes here and there, but nothing that sticks out, nothing that continues to keep him in the game. I will give him the credit that in spite of not making the most of the opportunities and not really catching on, his confidence is still at an all-time high. He actually was talking to, I think, some radio station or something, maybe Tennessee, I'm not sure. But like, just talk about this right here. Just this says it when he was talking about Devon Aitchin's new deal. He says, for sure, I definitely appreciate those guys like Devon, Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley. Those guys boosted the market for people that's after them. Devon Aitchin definitely deserves it. He's a hell of a player. I watch him day in, day out, how he takes on his reps, how he's so detailed in everything he does. You just learn from him. Again, he deserves everything he's got. I appreciate him because when the time comes, that market is going to be boosted up for me. So just that right there alone, without getting too far into everything else, we obviously know the running back market is crazy when it comes to paying guys. You know, after what seemed like the running back market was going to start to go down and, you know, no second deals, no this, no that, it seems to be boosted back up. But him talking about, hey, when it comes time for my second contract, Devon Aitchin's deal, man, it makes my deal a lot better. I'm going to get I'm going to have a deal that's going to be good for me. It'll be boosted up. So is it crazy talk right now? Sure. But I'll tell you why I love that talk from him, because that's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. That's a guy coming in with that knows that he has fresh eyes on him from a new regime that they keep talking about running the ball. And we're, you know, I believe Ollie Gordon could be a guy who's going to be, you know, a household name for a lot of Dolphin fans by the end of next season. Like with Devon Aitchin. Why I haven't included Jalen Wright is because of what we've seen of Jalen Wright. But Jalen Wright, could he be in that talk? For sure. He has the talent. He has the talent. We've seen the flashes. Go watch Tennessee film. He's a talented back. But you add in the drive or the chip on his shoulder, does that push him over the top? Like when it's time to, hey, we need a Devon Achane and Ollie need a break. Jalen, go in there. Do you make the most of that opportunity, Jalen? That's what's going to matter, right? So I love this talk from him. What's your reaction to what Jalen Wright is saying?
Well, Jalen Wright, there's a lot of baggage on Jalen Wright right now because the Dolphins traded a third-round pick.
Yep.
For the fourth-round pick, there was a 120th pick in the draft. So you basically traded a third-round pick for a late fourth-round pick. So you invested a lot on Jalen Wright to start off. So he comes to Miami. There were some rumors from some people say that he could not pick up the blitz or pass coverage or indecisive. That the tools were there, but he could not put it on the field. Last year, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Last year, he had some interviews where he said he wasn't the best shape of his life. He was prepared, and I put a lot of hopes in him because I saw the interviews. I really believe that the guy set up to he knows the spot where he's in. He's gonna come out pants on fire to basically to eat the lead, and it didn't happen. So right now again, a lot of comments right now again. So right now, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So right now I'm cautious. I always liked him. I think that when he plays and when he makes plays, he looks like a very, very good player. The guy looks like an awesome player on the field. When he has a good game or a couple of good sequences, you say, now's his moment. But then he disappears, and we go back to square one. So it's disappointing that as the Dolphins betted so much in him, that right now you will still have question marks of where he's on this team with Ollie Gordon and now being the one that should be reassigned. So I do not put a lot of stock into the fact that we want to do the same thing they did last year, having an interview. So I want him to succeed. I want him to do good. We need him because the running game is going to be huge for the Dolphins this year. And at the very least, it's going to be a bargaining trade chip. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see right now. But the fact that, he believes in himself is always good, but he has to prove it. And last year he said the same things, and he did not.
Yeah. And again, Hog Dog says Ollie Gordon's going to be a beast this year. I believe that. I truly believe Ollie Gordon's going to have a very good year. Ollie freaking Gordon better do something. I believe he will. But back to Jalen Wright again, does he have the talent? He does. And is he saying the right things? He is, right? It shows confidence. That's great. But it has to translate to on the field. Sammy, we were tweeting about this, right? We tweeted about it, and you brought up a great point because we've been discussing this,
Yes.
But it has to translate. The confidence is great. That's awesome, dude. We know you have the talent, but it has to translate. So far, it hasn't translated in camp. Raphael was talking about the fumbling issues, but also the catching. He can't catch. He's been dropping balls in practice. He's fallen behind Ollie Gordon, which was expected. And
it's not like he's delusional. The talent is there. Dolphins saw that talent, and they traded a third-round pick for him. The talent is there. The speed is there. The body is there. So it's not like he's delusional. A player that basically
he's not.
Player, and he's I'm gonna do whatever. The talent is there, so he has to put it together.
And again, if given the opportunity, and I think that's going to go for all these, especially now that again, our coaching staff has said it's not McDaniel, but now that the coaching staff has said, we're a run first type of team, and I believe they will be. I believe Ollie Gordon and potentially Jalen Wright, if not traded, not cut, and I think trade could be a possibility if down the line if a team comes calling. I don't think cut because, again, I think he has the talent, and I think, you don't cut the talent. Unless you have a guy better, you don't move him. But I think it going into the season with Miami's mindset, I think especially if it goes in with that, and maybe they say, hey, let's not pass him the ball. Let's just go ahead and let's run the ball with him. I think fans, we're going to go, dang, okay, this was the Jalen Wright we thought we were going to get. Because he has the talent, he has the confidence. He just needs to have it translated onto the field. So love to hear from him on that. and excited to see what he could potentially do. Again, he's had some bright spots in OTAs, but again, the main issue though is catching that football. Ali has passed him in OTA so far, so we'll see where that goes. But anyway, what's next on FTSN, the Fins Talk Sports Network? Well, first off, tomorrow potentially East 10th Street Boys. That's potentially. Saturday night, excuse me, not Friday night. Saturday night, East 10th Street Boys will continue to monitor the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation with the Miami Heat. Will he, won't he? We don't know, whatever. 5 p.m. on Saturday, we got No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast with our WrestleMania Rewind coverage with WrestleMania 11. So that's been a lot of fun. We'll continue that. And then Tuesday night next week, we will have live coverage of the NBA draft round 1. So from pick 1 to pick 30, Russ Morgan, Michael Brown, Alfred Matthews, Alex, East 10th Street Boys, some others as well from Houston and so forth, covering the Houston Cougars and so forth, will be live on FTSN covering the draft and of course round 2 the night after. So make sure you tune into that. Sammy, woo! Any news? Fins TV.
We're still on hiatus. There's nothing happening. Everybody's going on vacation, so are we. So we're gonna go back again by the end of July when training camp starts. But you can catch us here on FTSN, the flagship of FTSN on Thursday night. Fins Talk today.
There you go. And guys, don't forget again, Fins Talk today is sponsored by Caneswear. Make sure if you are a Dolphins fan, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, anything South Florida sports, go check out Caneswear at in Davie, Florida at 2655 South. Let's see. I just lost my train of thought there. South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And of course, if you're not in Florida, if you're in Tennessee like me, or Puerto Rico like Sammy, or Texas like Steve, or wherever, you go to caneswear.com. Great stuff, fast shipping, great customer service. If they don't have something, they'll get to you quickly and get it taken care of. Great people. Other than that, we appreciate everybody tuning in. This is another episode of Fins Talk Today. We'll be back next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, like and subscribe. And most importantly, as always, Dolphin fans, fins up. Peace.